Yo, what is going on, everybody? Mashman here. Super excited to be doing this video for you guys today. Yesterday, I asked the question across my socials, what questions do you guys have about personal branding, public relations, business, etc.? And the community did not disappoint. So I have a series of 7 different questions up on my monitor to my left, which I'm going to be answering one by one. And the questions themselves are really, really good because they're foundational to building your personal brand, to your success online. And by no means am I some social media coach or I'm some guru or anything like that. However, I have been helping people create, maintain, and scale their personal brands since April 2020 through my public relations firm, Mashman Ventures. Since launching, I've had the opportunity of consulting and helping multiple different people from multiple different industries really harness the potential their personal brand has and get results. I'm talking musicians, executives, business owners, creatives, influencers, personal trainers, coaches, consultants, etc. I don't need to bore you guys with all those finer details, but needless to say, Mashman Ventures is my main company. That is my vehicle towards external investments through Mashman Investments and Mashman Properties, and that is, the one thing that is the brainchild. And that is something I always recommend people. It's like get really good at one company, go all in with that company, and then once it's kind of growing and in that momentum stage, then you could think externally. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. They want to be the Da Vinci man and do every single thing under the sun. And they want to be in network marketing. And then they also want to do a side hustle. And then they also want to build a business. And then they also want to work a 9 to 5. And that is just going to confuse the heck out of you and confuse the heck out of your audience if you're trying to build your personal brand online. And so, aside from that, on a personal note, which takes me into the first question, what is personal branding? I'm a huge coffee fan. I'm a huge coffee addict. I'm a huge nerd. I love the Lord of the Rings series. I am a huge fan of music. As a matter of fact, prior to launching Mashman Ventures, I was in the music industry managing talent and also pursuing a record label. Then, bam, pandemic hit, and all of those things kind of came to a halt. Had to cancel a couple concerts, and that is what kind of led me into stumbling, truthfully, into the PR industry and into personal branding and Mashman Ventures. So, I say all of that to say this: your personal brand is you, it is who you are. And I want you to take a second and imagine that you have the word personal brand. You have personal on the left side, there's a line, and then there's brand right here. Brand is here. So on the personal side, it is you, it is who you are, what you're known for personality wise. How can people connect with you? Are you the cheerful person? Are you the were you the class clown? Were you the person who was the smart one out of the group? Are you the one that makes everybody laugh? Are you the one that might show up wearing something dorky or the one that's the sharpest dressed individual? You see, all of those different aspects of your personality make up you and make up your image. Then you have the brand side, and the brand is the professional side of you, the career, the way that you're making money. What do people consider you to be an expert in? And if you're not an expert in anything, and you're just starting out, maybe you're early on, maybe you're young, or maybe you're in a brand new career, then the brand side is going to be pertaining to you on your journey of becoming that expert and becoming that person of authority. You see, you've had your personal brand from the moment you were born. When mom, pushed you out and said, "Hey, here comes the little baby Mashman, little baby Susan, little baby Jack." Then you were building your personal brand unconsciously. Your parents determined what your name was, where you were born, what political affiliation you had, some of your earliest beliefs, what religion you practiced, your faith. And a lot of those early years, those nurturing years, influenced you into becoming the person you are today. And then as you grew older, you began to consciously make decisions about your own life, about your own career. But that doesn't mean that you are consciously building your personal brand. And that's where I come in. And that's where you're coming in by even asking the question of what is your personal brand. And so, question number one is by Mac Roa on Facebook and then Kiwan Amy on Twitter. They actually both ask the same question, phrased a little differently. And that is, how do I start? How do I start building my personal brand? So, going back to my brief training on personal branding, you have already been building your personal brand. But how do you start consciously leveraging it? How do you start consciously making it work for you ultimately? How do you make it benefit you? How do you make it benefit your results? And so you have to ask yourself the question of, why do I want to build my personal brand? Do you want to build your business? Do you want to drive awareness and attention towards a cause you care about? Do you just want to become well known to make a little bit of a side income? Do you want to become well known in your community? Do you want to, be that person who is the community leader? How big do you want to take it? These are the questions that you need to be asking yourself, because once you understand why you want to build your personal brand, then you can also go in certain directions that will get you those, best results at the end of the day. And then question number two is, do you have previous experience? Do you have previous accolades which you can leverage? Again, if you're just starting out, you might not have those. And that's going to determine how you go about building your personal brand. But let's say you are somebody that is extremely successful offline. You're somebody that is already built a real estate empire, or maybe you have been featured in a bunch of different magazines as an HR leader. Like one of my clients, Christina Hawley, she was like, oh, by the way, I was in this magazine and I spoke on stage, and she didn't even realize that all of that could benefit her. And so I'm here to tell you this, that if you've already built your career, then now all you need to do is you need to position yourself as that authority right off the bat. And then number three is you need to start getting on social media. Very basic steps. Social media allows you to communicate your message, allows you to connect, and allows you to get in front of more people. So, step number one is going to be finding out why you want to build your personal brand. Why do you want to leverage it if you want to leverage it? Then, number two, what accolades do you already have? What authority do you have? Now, if you do not have the authority, then you need to go about building it and looking like you have that. And that goes into my next question here momentarily. And then number three is you need to get on social media and you need to start putting yourself out there. You need to be comfortable in front of camera. You need to be comfortable talking about yourself. Fantastic question, by the way. Question number two is Danish Jalbani. How do I build a community? And this is on Facebook. And this goes hand in hand with how do you start? Whenever you get on social media for the first time, you start at 0 followers. I just did a short video on this the other day. And if you have 0 followers, you have no following at all, you have no community, you have no attention, you have nobody who's really paying attention to what you have going on. And that is where I would recommend, number one, connecting with your friends and family, your business associates, people that you already know offline. If you can build that community by leveraging your offline connections, then you are going to have a really strong foundation to work with. So you connect with your friends online. You say, hey, yo, I'm getting on Facebook. I'm going to be pushing out content. Let's go ahead and connect there. Maybe you ask them for their Instagram, a business associate or somebody else that you work with, a coworker. You're like, yo, what's your Facebook? What's your Instagram? And you just connect with these individuals that you already know, that already know you. Then they're not going to be wondering, hey, who is this random friend request? They're going to automatically get the idea of, hey, this is somebody I can trust. And once you start at that level, that ground floor, you have to understand that every single interaction you have goes towards building your community. Now, here's the thing. Let's cover, why would somebody follow you to begin with? Why would somebody stay following you? You can do four different things. Number one, you can entertain them, you can educate them, you can motivate or inspire them, or you connect with them. You are able to connect with them on an emotional level. Something about you is relatable. Maybe they're able to connect with the fact that you have a similar interest, that you're you're an advocate for certain causes. Maybe you have similar political beliefs. Maybe you have similar interests in, science fiction. It might sound goofy, but all of these different aspects of your personality, again, personal brands, connect you with another person and build rapport. Rapport is trust. It is a way of connecting with somebody else. They are able to connect with you, relate with you, and then that connection allows them to trust you to a higher degree. And all of those other things that I mentioned, education, entertaining, motivating, you're able to do all of those through your personal brand. And somebody might be entertained by you. That also ties in with your personality. They might be educated by you, right? They might view you as a mentor, view you as a coach, view you as a consultant, view you as a source of information, as an expert that can help them go from point A to point B and solve their problems, that can help them get farther ahead quicker. Or maybe there's somebody that very simply wants to be entertained by trivia, right? Trivia questions. Maybe you're creating trivia online, right? Now you're able to entertain them and you're able to educate them. And then the other one that I mentioned is motivate, right? You're able to motivate that person by your lifestyle, by who you are, by your personality, and they see you. They see that about you. And they're like, man, Isaac's pushing it, pushing it ahead. Jack, man, he's working out. I need to do the same exact thing. And they get excited about that. They go and follow you because they want to feel motivated or inspired. So when it comes to building a community, go into it knowing that you have an obligation to do one of those four things or all four of those things to your community. Every interaction you have will build up over time. So you go from 0 followers to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, and then you create a piece of content. That content might get you a couple new followers because the algorithm. Then you might get on another person's podcast. You leverage their platform, and now you gained another 5 followers. And then from there, it gradually grows. And then one day, maybe you go viral, or one day you get seen by somebody with a larger audience. And these are different turning points that can expedite your process, that can expedite your community's growth. And you're building a community around who you are. This is very different than building a community around a cause or something like that because you are the public figure. You are the person that is in the spotlight. And that is a huge psychological difference that you have to have. A lot of times people go and they want to build their personal brand and they want to look like everybody else online. They want to look like a normal person, and that is not going to get them any results. You have to stand out. You have to be that person that is the authority. You have to be that person that says, hey, look at me. Now, you're not begging for attention. You're not begging somebody to follow you. You're not begging them to respect you. But by putting yourself and having the confidence to even create a video, to record a video in front of camera, you're already going to be so much farther ahead than everybody else online. Fantastic question, Danish Jalbani on Facebook. Now, this is from a actual client of Mashman Ventures who worked with chief consultant Eric Chow. Carissa Jekyll on Facebook, she asked, how do you get people to trust your brand when you are just starting out and have minimal content, little to no reviews or testimonials? And this goes hand in hand with building a community and understanding that all those different actions and all those different things build up over time, and your trust is going to be built over time. Because, as a matter of fact, it's not that difficult to create content that at least fills out your profile. If you're just starting out, then maybe create a couple videos, spend a couple hours and take photos, do a photo shoot and put them out there and promote the hell out of them so people can see, hey, this is a real person. This isn't a bot. This isn't fake. This is real. Let me go ahead and check her out a little bit. It's important that your social media profiles are filled out. And I'm speaking a lot of, technical terms pertaining about social media because building your personal brand offline is a little bit different, a little bit similar, but online with social media, you have more control. You can direct it to a higher degree. And so when you're just starting out and you don't have that trust yet, you're not that authority. You are that person who's like, hey, I'm on to something, I'm on this path. You have to get people to connect with you on your vision. I know when I was starting out, I had multiple different ideas. I went and pursued multiple different businesses. I mean, I was in the industry of network marketing 4 different times in 3 different companies. And then aside from that, I did other businesses after I got out of the industry before even getting into my current one. And this was, a couple years ago, but the people that were following me continued to follow me because they connected with my vision, my idea that I was working for more. And that trust between me and my audience grew over time, and they connect with your vision. So let that vision be publicly known as a commitment to you and as a commitment to them, knowing that you have yourself held to a standard. And the other thing is you have to look like you have your stuff together. Even if you're just starting out, you have to kind of, I don't want to use the word fake it till you make it, but you need to have your social media accounts filled out. You need to own your domain, own isaacmashman.com. Even if you don't build a website automatically, you are positioning yourself into everything in your power to build your brand around this idea that you are somebody that can be trusted, a public figure in the rise. And then, once you go and let's say you're building a business and you're working with people, maybe you're coaching somebody, you're consulting them one on one, then that is when you can start getting and collecting reviews and testimonials and publishing them and sharing them and letting other people know, hey, you could listen to me. but that would be biased. But why don't you listen to this person who I worked with? They'll tell you the unbiased facts. And that is how you leverage third party edification. You get edified by another person who worked with you because you delivered upon what they hired you for. You delivered on, the service or the product or whatever it is. Then you collect those testimonials and you share those on your YouTube channel. You say, hey, I just got another 5-star review. Bada bing, bada boom. Stepping stones. They add up over time. Now, this question is a little bit different than the other ones because it's not pertaining to personal branding specifically. It is by Kate Brewster Zickel, who was on Facebook, and fantastic, woman, strong, strong story. We connected in Washington D.C. At Meta Boost Gather last May 2022, which was a lot of fun. What are some back end tech security issues? My cats are running nuts. Sorry about that. I have cats that are just going back and forth pit pats, so excuse me for that. Not going to edit that out. This is an unscripted video. Uh, but again, what are some back end tech or security issues to consider with a small business? What tools best facilitate those needs? Now, I want to talk about something that might be overlooked by a lot of people, and that is protecting your customers' data, collecting your customers' information. I know that there are a lot of issues with Facebook over the past couple of years selling consumer information and selling, the data of its users, and that is problematic, especially when people aren't aware of that. And so when you're building a business and you're collecting this different information, you have to protect that. You have to have such a deep respect because do you want your data being sold? If you're paying an invoice, you're trusting that that person is not going to charge you again unethically. You have to protect your customers' data, your customers' information, your customers' payment. When you have, let's say, a payment processor, have two-factor authentication on. You need to have multiple security codes. You need to make it to where not everybody has access to that. Even if it's somebody that you trust, that doesn't mean anything. You have to do everything to protect your people. Have password managers like, Google Vault or LastPass or whatever to make sure that, your passwords can't be compromised and wind up on the dark web list. And imagine if you're the person who had the security risk and all of a sudden one of your previous clients, their information got hacked because of you. Now you're liable not only for a lawsuit, you could have affected and hurt their own life, their own money, their own, whatever they have going on. And that, sense of responsibility is something I cannot express and really push enough. So fantastic and atypical question, Kate. Really like that. Now, this is from Christopher Ryan on Twitter. He asked, what is the best time of day to post on social media? Now, this varies, number one, based on what social media platform you're talking about. Different platforms might have a different algorithm, but that might impact a little bit of when you should post. Number two is where is your audience based? If you're in the UK, if you're in London, you're not going to be posting when people on the West Coast are, just getting up for the day. Like you're not going to be doing that. So you have to factor in your time zone, where your audience is based. And number three, you can actually go into the analytics and actually view when your audience is the most active. So this question being asked on Twitter, you can go into twitter.analytics.com or analytics.twitter.com, whatever it is, and actually search the time. You could find the time that your audience is the most active. And that information is collected based off of their own account data, and it's also collected based off of the interactions with your tweets. And so if they see that, hey, you got 20 tweets or 20 likes rather in between the hours of 4 and 5, and other hours of the day you range between 10 and 5, then you're going to naturally want to post when your audience is the most active, when you're getting that engagement. Now, there are a lot of other factors that come into play here, such as the kind of content you're producing, right? Because on Twitter, you can take 10 seconds and make a really quick tweet when you have a thought in your mind. But when it comes to a video, it's going to take more time to edit and post that video. And the other side of it is you need to be able to promote that to your own audience. So if you're posting a reel on Instagram or a YouTube video, you might want to share that to your story. You might want to share that YouTube link to your Facebook page, to your Facebook following, to your LinkedIn following. If you're getting on TikTok and you're posting a video, well, you might want to go live on TikTok for a few minutes and get some people to kind of interact and engage with you. And so you have to understand there is no right or wrong answer here, but you need to do everything in your power to optimize the chance of you getting maximum exposure. You have to do something. Yeah, as many things as possible to get the optimal results here. And some videos are going to perform, better than others. Some pieces of content are going to perform, and that might not necessarily be because of when you're posting. A lot of times people ask that question, when's the best time to post? Because they want some, way of cutting, time frames and all of a sudden going massively viral. And that's not how this works. But you do need to be, aware that if you post at 4 o'clock in the morning, you probably won't get any engagement. But if you post between 4 and 6 p.m. at night, on the East Coast, maybe you'll get some better interaction, some better engagement. And that's going to be up to you to really start paying attention to and understanding your own audience, your own interactions with, how people are interacting with you and your content. Then you'll be able to understand, all right, every day at 10 o'clock, I'm going to post this video. Every day at this time, I'm going to push this out there. And there is definitely some benefit to consistency. And so, rather than just taking every other day and posting sporadically, you might want to post every single day at the same time. A podcast specifically, I know that the question was about social media, but podcasting is one of those examples of why it is so important you are consistent with your schedule. You need to post every Tuesday at this time. So that allows somebody to come back and say, hey, it's Tuesday, 8 o'clock. I'm getting ready for work. Let's go see a new episode, by Isaac. Let's go ahead and check a new episode by Andy. And then they go and they get into this routine of checking your content. And that is how you can get and develop yourself as that public figure because you are consistent. Now, being consistent in a world where everybody else is inconsistent, it's going to set you out and it set you apart from everybody else. Again, being that public figure, being the person who can stand out and somebody that they can trust. Now, the final question, and I've had a really great time. We're approaching, a little bit past 20 minutes, and I don't want to make this like a 2 hour Q&A. What is the biggest myth when it comes to starting PR/slash branding? Now, this is by Mitchell Howell on Facebook, another person I met at the MetaBoost Gather in Washington, D.C. Now, these are two different questions I'm going to treat as two different questions. Fantastic, by the way, Mitchell. What is the biggest myth when it comes to starting PR? Now, public relations. Mashman Ventures is a public relations firm. So let me go ahead and define what PR is. It is the relationship with the public. These are, public relations firms typically are the people that come in, manage crisis. They can help you with your marketing message. They determine what is the overall, emotions around a brand or a person's name. So, for example, they are going to be managing the noise, managing those communications, getting into the press, getting onto media shows, getting onto television shows. These are all different examples of what public relations firms might do. Now, one of the biggest myths is that public relations is only reserved for corporations and celebrities. That is a myth of yesteryear. Back in the 1900s, in order to have a public relations firm, you needed to have money. You needed to have a ton of exposure. You needed to, have a team behind you for it to really make sense. But in 2023, with technology and with how, society has progressed, PR is for everybody. Now, this doesn't mean you need to pay $5,000 to have, a PR agency working for you, but you need to understand that public relations is ultimately managing your reputation and managing your relationship with the broader audience, with the broader community, and making sure that you're being portrayed in the proper light. And so PR is for everybody. You just need to go ahead and understand that. And especially with you wanting to be a public figure and being that celebrity in the making, to use that knowledge or to use that phrase, it is going to be vital that you start treating your interactions with the utmost importance and not doing anything that can compromise you online. If you don't want it to be, exposed to the world, you probably shouldn't be doing it, all right? Now, the second myth is pertaining to branding. A lot of times people think that a brand is just the logo and the name and the colors, but a brand is also the marketing message. The brand is what a brand or what you are known as. Marketing is how you get more people to know about you. But a brand, for example, is how you feel whenever you think of the brand. So think about Louis Vuitton or think about Rolls Royce. I say those names. You have a feeling that comes up in your mind, that comes up in your chest. You're like, man, luxury, experience, drive. So all of these different characteristics about a company or about a person come into play. Branding is a lot more than just a logo and a name. Now, determine or based on how you want to be perceived, how you want to sell, how you want people to feel about you will determine who you target in your marketing, who you target in your sales process, right? If you want to be a premier product, you're not going to be targeting and running advertisements towards somebody that is not interested in premier products. And so you have to factor those things in and understand that just because you have a logo, just because you have a name doesn't automatically mean that you're done and your job is done. You need to go deeper than the surface and think, what do I want people to feel? What do I want people to think? What do I want people to experience? What do I want this experience to stand for? Do I want to align myself or my business with certain causes? Do I want to be that eco-friendly? Do I want to be, the brand that is, forward thinking? Do I want to be a kind of like a nostalgic brand? So you need to really be thinking about these different things. Fantastic questions, by the way, Mitchell, and fantastic questions to all the different people that asked them. Matt, Keon, Danish, Carissa, Kate, Christopher, and Mitchell. I appreciate you, for taking, the time to ask them. And I hope that I was able to answer them. And to you who is watching this video as well, thank you for sticking around and listening to me. And I'm, certain that you probably got an ounce of value from this. And I would really appreciate it if you took the time out of your day to hit that subscribe button, to leave a comment, to hit the share button, whatever you can do, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel led to do. That helps me out. And I would also just be excited to learn more about you. So feel free to reach out, looking to build my network and looking to connect with more like-minded individuals. And as a final note, before you guys get going, make sure you go to Amazon, you go to my website, isaacmashman.com/book, and pick up a copy of Personal Branding and Manifesto on Fame and Influence if building your personal brand is something that interests you. And if not, may your coffee be strong and much love.